So in this one, we were saying there's a study that came out that said there's some sort of building material, maybe something used in construction, that used to be thought to be harmless, but now the researchers are testing and concluding that it's linked to COPD later in life. Let's say there's one research paper just came out. They might be wrong. If they're doing the research correctly, they're minimizing the chances that they're making an incorrect conclusion, but that's why we need to discuss the type 1 and type 2 errors. So before we do that, we have to identify the researcher's null and alternative hypothesis. So for my made-up example, the null hypothesis is that this material does not impact the chances of COPD, because the null hypothesis is the no effect model. The alternative is that this material does impact chances of COPD. And specifically, they're saying it's linked to COPD, which implies greater chances. So I should say, there we go. It's a one-tailed hypothesis. It's not implied that, and we wouldn't assume that some sort of construction material is reducing your chances of COPD, probably. So it's a type 1 error. All right, there we go. Okay, so a type 1 error is a false positive. In other words, that means the researchers said, hey, we found something, when actually they made a wrong conclusion. Either there was a bias in the data they didn't see. That's actually usually the most common one. It's very rare for a computation error these days. So type 1 error would be to say, in this context, the researchers concluded that this building material increases chances of COPD when, in fact, material has no impact. Type 1 error is where you're saying, we're going to go with the alternative. We think this is true, when the researchers are actually wrong. A type 2 error, you can probably guess now, it's just the opposite. The researchers conclude that this material does not impact chances of COPD when, in fact, it does. So this would be the researchers spent all this time. They looked at this material, looked at the long-term effects, and they said, no, we can't say that this actually increases your chance of COPD. And it turns out they're wrong. They missed something in a type 2 error, and they missed a possible conclusion they could make. So which one is more serious for society? Why? There's no one correct answer for your problem or for my problem. Because a type 1 error would mean you're saying, hey, everyone, this material is going to cause COPD, when it actually doesn't. That's bad because we're scaring people, and we're actually going to ruin a whole manufacturing portion of the industry, which people are going to be out of jobs for no reason other than maybe overcaution. And I guess that is kind of a reason. Type 1 error has negative effects. Type 2 error obviously does too. If you have people working with this material and you fail to find out the truth that this material is actually causing COPD, you've made a type 2 error, and that's also bad for society because now we're telling people it's safe to use. Maybe they take their masks off too and they relax their standards because they read this study, and now they're getting COPD later in life. So they both have negative effects. In my opinion, for this one, a type 2 error is more serious. Um, I'd rather be overcautious about COPD and cancer and risks like that. I'd rather say, hey, we're not sure, but we think this is causing COPD, right? Because then we can just go find another material. I'm okay with the economic damage that might do, because I think people's lives are more important than the jobs that they have. And that stinks because, if we're wrong, we're saying we gotta stop producing this entire thing, and we cost a whole town their jobs. That's really, really sad for that town. We did it all for no reason other than overcaution. So either one is bad. There's no right or wrong answer. The only wrong answer is if you give me a chat GPT answer. I hate those. I know what they are. I can't prove them all the time, but every semester a student tries to submit stuff all the time. It's clearly written by chat GPT. I'll ask a follow-up question. They're not able to answer in their own words. So please don't do that. Okay.